Raise your hand if you know or knew of someone who is or was obese. Raise your hand if you know someone who is suffering or has suffered from heart disease. Raise your hand if you have the same person for both questions I just asked. Obesity is the leading cause of cardiovascular diseases, which is why some of you may have thought of the same person. The results from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey from 2009 to 2010, conducted by the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, states that 2 in 3 adults are considered to be overweight or obese, and 1 in 20 adults are considered to have extreme obesity. Today I'm going to talk to you about global health risks. 3 major health risks that affect people in every nation include disease, malnutrition, and obesity. By the end of my speech, you will learn about each of these health risks and which type of countries they affect the most. According to the book Global Burden of Disease, a 2004 update by the World Health Organization in 2008, the leading global risks for burden of disease in the world are being underweight, unsafe sex, alcohol use, and unsafe water, sanitation, and hygiene. Each of these, excluding alcohol use, increases the number and severity of new cases of infectious diseases, particularly affecting populations in low-income countries. However, substantially different disease patterns exist between high, middle, and low-income countries. The most important risk factors are those associated with chronic diseases, such as cardiovascular diseases and cancer, with cardiovascular diseases being the leading causes of death across the world. Along with cancer and heart disease, tobacco usage is one of the leading risks for chronic diseases, accounting for 11% of disease burden and 18% of deaths in high-income or developed countries. The leading risk factor in disease in low-income countries is being underweight, accounting for 10% of the total disease burden. Being underweight mainly arises from inadequate diet and infrequent infection, leading to insufficient intake of calories, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Insufficient intake of these nutrients may ultimately lead to malnutrition. Those who suffer from malnutrition are predominantly from low and middle income countries. According to the book World Health Statistics 2010 by the World Health Organization in 2010, risk of malnutrition has increased due to rising food prices coupled with falling household incomes. Those who have the highest risk for malnutrition are young children, for it is an underlying cause of about 1/3 of all child deaths. As the book Global Burden of Disease states, risk factors for malnutrition include being underweight, insufficient consumption of protein foods, energy foods, and breast milk, and deficiencies in vitamins and minerals such as calcium and vitamin D, which are important causes of rickets and bone mineralization. Combined contribution of these risk factors to specific causes of death is highest for diarrheal diseases being 73%, and pneumonia, measles, and severe neonatal infections being 50%. Along with child malnutrition, maternal malnutrition is also a major issue. During pregnancy, folate deficiencies increases the risk for birth defects and increases pregnancy outcomes. Along with folate deficiency, vitamin B deficiencies may also be associated with pregnancy outcomes and the development of disabilities in infants. In opposition to global malnutrition, obesity is also one of the major health risks in the world today. Obesity is an underlying cause for numerous health problems. The more obese one is, the higher BMI he or she has. According to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, in the book Clinical Guidelines on the Identification, Evaluation, and Treatment of Overweight and Obesity in Adults in 1998, morbidity for a number of health conditions increases as BMI increases. A higher morbidity in association with overweight and obesity has been observed for hypertension, coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, stroke, gallbladder disease, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea and respiratory problems, and some types of cancer. Obesity is also associated with complications of pregnancy, menstrual irregularities, stress incontinence, and psychological disorders. The nature of obesity-related health risks is similar in all populations, although specific level of risk associated with a given level of overweight or obesity may vary with race, ethnicity, and also with gender, age, and societal conditions. The risk of obesity is much higher in developed countries than in those that are developing due to diet-related factors such as readiness and convenience of fattening foods, and also technological advancements that reduce the amount of labor and physical activity required on an everyday basis. Types of health risks that the world faces today are an underlying cause for many health problems. The 3 main health risks that I've discussed today include disease, malnutrition, and obesity. Each of these health risks put individuals at risk for chronic illnesses such as cardiovascular diseases and cancer. In order to reduce the severity and regularity of such health risks, each nation should work to implement stronger healthcare systems in order to create a healthier, happier world.